What the hell? Alright, so I don't know if anyone's seen. I got totally wiped out. This is very weird. Something very strange going on here, folks. Oh, man. Oh, this is really weird. I don't know what the hell. I've been doing this for years. Okay, is the stage here? Oh yeah, okay. So necessary truth, you are there. Thank you very much. There's something very, very strange with my, something's really screwed up over here with the, all my softwares. I'm going to crash this out here. So necessary, Olson, you're still there? Okay. So give me a second. I'm going to see if I can recalibrate everything. All right. Wow. Okay, that part's good. Stay with me. Stay with me. Okay, alright, so that part's good. Stay close, people. Stay close. Alright, that part's okay. That part's okay. This is extremely weird. Okay, so let's go over here. On, all is good. Okay, so let me see. Recovery. Sorry about that. Very, very weird thing. The internet signal here is very, very strong. I don't know what happened, but 2 browsers were closed. All the broadcasting software got... I don't know what to tell you. Very abnormal event just happened. I feel like I'm being attacked. I feel like I was attacked. This is not a normal crash. What just happened is not a normal crash. Okay? I'm just letting you guys know. I still got readings to do, people. Alright, Olson. So with the Queen of Cups here, my feeling is that, are you being well received? Okay? So I know you work with some other healers. Like, does this make any sense? The Queen of Cups energy, it's like, it might feel very alien to you. Like, why am I Olson with all of this and being who I am with so much to offer? Why am I concerned about like what's not working and how and why it's not working, and why it concerns so much to do with the almost like completely contrary energy of the feminine aspect of the soul? And if you're not used to filtering anything and everything through the masculine and feminine, it can make you feel very like puzzled or confused or upset or denied or rejected, or like why am I wasting all my energy? Like I have so much to offer, but if it's not receivable, you know, what's the point? On the other hand, what is the point? If the point is to, you know, radiate your true power, okay, and there's certain expectations and results associated with that, that don't jive up with, let's say, three-dimensional reality, and you're left with having to figure out, wow, my whole existence is actually being conducted in multi-dimensional frequencies, and the parameters and the meanings and the purposes are very, very different compared to a very traditional three-dimensional life here on planet Earth. For example, boy, girl, boy meets girl, babies, homes, cars, mortgages, schools, families, and all of that stuff. And so there might be this confusion going on, like, oh, how does this work out for me? What about my life? To me, this feels like it's just extremely frustrating that you constantly have to manage your own energy. I guess the only way I can describe it is like with farming, because this is such an earthy card, the Nine of Pentacles, and a really good, noble, conscientious farmer knows that the work never stops. And it's almost like you end up on a perpetual path of having to maintain qualities and standards and always improving in order to enjoy the full lusciousness and the bounty of your life. So it means constantly, every day, it's almost like, oh my God, I only get 20 minutes at the end of every day where I can just put my feet up and have a beer or something. Damn! Oh well. I've got it good, but sometimes I wish I could just retire and soak it all in and cash it all in and just live a life of luxury. But there is purpose and meaning, and it's to do with, let's say, capturing the healing power of love and then transcribing it down to earth here, like the transformer I talked about in the electric cables, into something of meaning and value and purpose that involves other people, like with the people who you encounter where you have a healing agenda, a healing force. Okay? Jeffrey. Whoa! Greetings, Jeffrey. Now, how are we going to deal with this? Because this just looks, it's very beautiful in its own way, but it also feels very frustrating to me. I don't know why I'm laughing. I think you can understand this. I think you can take the humor, all son. To me, it feels like really what we're dealing with here is that, like if it was just you and me, like two guys hanging out having a beer or something, and we're at a bar, and I'm looking at you, and you're looking at me, and you're kind of looking at me for answers, and I'm looking at you like, well, I mean, I can't live your life for you. You got to answer your own questions. What I felt here is that it's like, dear all son, like it or not, this is your path in life. It's like you are this, I would say, arbiter or communicator or someone who has to do what has to be done because not everybody is capable or ready or willing or able to do it in terms of administering truth as a form of healing. And so you decide, okay, I'm just going to get on with it. And you've learned a lot on the way, but there's always these question marks like, damn it. It's almost like, I know I'm a freak in my own way, but why can't I just have normal lovey-dovey life like everyone else has? You can't, and that's not the journey here. And so I'm looking at you, I got my hand on my shoulder, my head on my hand on my shoulder, and I say, all son, no one's going to rescue you. You're going to have to be your own savior. You're going to have to be the one who rises to the rescue every single day. You're going to have to come up and save yourself. It's just like, oh, damn. Damn. I don't know how else I can communicate this. It's literally, this is how I feel. It's just like you and me hanging out at a bar like this. You're over there, you got your, well, blah, 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 and I had this really rough day, I had a client, blah, 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 blah. You have no idea what it's like, TL, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, I do, I've got clients too, blah, 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 whatever. And it's like, you're like, sometimes, I know I've got my gift, I got my power, I've built a legacy, I've got this good thing going, I am loving and I'm loved in my own life. But it's like just every single day I have to like do the same, recalibrate over and over again. And I'm like, well, it's kind of like being an old-fashioned farmer. The cows aren't going to milk themselves. It's great when you have a really nice, healthy farm, but it's a lot of work. And then I'm like, I have to be the one who goes like, well, no one's going to save you. You're gonna have to be your own hero. You have to be your own hero. You have to save yourself, remind yourself, convince yourself, like, all right, I see what you're seeing. And so just remind yourself the attitude of gratitude. You're very gifted. You have abundance in your own way. You are loving and you are loved in your own way. And then it's the end of the day, and you have to get up the next day, and it starts all over again. And it's work. And then you have to be the one. You can do it. You can do it, old son. Yeah. Like you're having to act out. Like you have to act out the role of your invisible friends. And your invisible friend says, come on, old son. Come on. You know what you're capable of. You know what you have to do. You know you have to do it. And you're kind of like, yeah, get off me. But you do it. Okay? The Knight of Wands, I feel, is that part of you where you know that every day, like clockwork, you're going to have to come in and rescue yourself. You're going to have to be your own savior. You're going to have to save yourself because no one else is going to do it. I hope that reading makes sense to you and you get something, you resonate with that in some way or other. Thank you also. Mr. Ross, you're up. Let me shuffle these things. I'm going to play another Tarot Illumination tune. A little tune while we get cards sorted out here. How about I am healing, I am healed. I haven't played this in a long time. Let's see if I can remember it. I can barely remember it. Here we go. Let's try this. This is very physical. beep, beep. Thank you, Mr. Ross. All right. Gregory, we've had such a history working together over the years. It's been amazing. Thank you so much. What kind of messages do we have for Mr. Ross tonight? Let's have a look here, folks. Same old spread. Does anybody remember when I used to use lots of different decks and lots of oracles and lots of different spreads, lots of different readings, 45 videos per month at least? Gregory's got a note there. It says, so much good, but bunches of work to do, and I feel blocked. Okay, so a dear friend of mine a long time ago, he was homeless, and then after about 4 years, he became a multimillionaire. No kidding. And I think he lost a lot of it with gambling and investments or whatever, who knows. But he told me something, and I've never forgotten it. I'm going to mention this specifically for Gregory, but it applies to everybody and everything. Let me go here for a second. My friend, he became a really successful headhunter in the tech world. And all of his clients, he would go to some place like Microsoft and sniff out the really, really top people. And then he would go to some other big tech place that's really hungry for top people. And he would be this kind of matchmaker. But he wouldn't tell anybody that's who he is or what he does until he's found the match. And when he finds the match, he would set up the deal. It's essentially poaching. He would poach from here and send them over here and make a lot of money, because the person that he poaches from there gets a much bigger income over here. So, my buddy, he would make a commission on closing the deal to get from here to here, and then he would make a commission as a percentage of their future salary. So he had tons of money rolling in. And he would go all over the world doing this. He would be like a spy getting inside the front door of these huge corporations, and they wouldn't know who he really is or what he was doing. But that's how he did his business. And he told me when he was doing his meetings, he had to learn stuff very, very quickly. So he would ask like really poignant questions, like blah, 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 to get to the point, to see if he feels like he's actually got a really potentially worthy client. And so he would phrase questions and wait for the answer. And when the answers would be spoken to him, he would sit there and be listening. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh really, oh yeah, oh wow. And he told me, like, I would just sit there and listen until they say the word but. And then everything that they said before the word but, I forget about it because it's not quite that important right now. And I listen very carefully to everything they say after the word but. So in Gregory's case, we have an example here. He's got a lot of good stuff going on. That's great. But, do you see what I'm getting at here? It's like, that's great. And so that's something that's like treasure. It's in the bank, but what are you going to do now? What now? What now? What now? And he's got bunches of work to do, and he's also feeling blocked. So those are the really, really critical things. I mean, it's great that he's got so much goodness going on, but the real thing at hand is these bunches of work and feeling blocked. So how are we going to deal with that? Let's have a look what messages are going to come up to Gregory tonight regarding this subject, because it's like dealing with this anomaly. So much good going on, and yet let's shed some light on this, okay? Now, cards are already well shuffled. I'm going to go one last swoop to be extra sure. Just to be extra sure. Okay. Here we go. Now I did a really extreme cut because I really want to break up the energy to get, it makes me feel like I'm drilling really deep. Okay. But. Yes, that's another good point. Look at that from Necessary Truth. It's so true. It's kind of when someone says the word seems. It seems like ... It actually means it's not. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, here we go. Mr. Ross. Here's the situation. Here's some challenges. And here's how we're going to handle it. But let's have a look at the external influences. Like stuff that's sort of out of your control, but it's there and it's very present. Let's have a look. So we got the King of Cups. Okay, again, like what happened in the earlier readings, to me this feels like it's sort of... Okay, I'll give you... I felt a very powerful imagery come through. Okay, I'm just going to share it with you, okay, Gregory? It looks like this. I felt like you were in a shower. Or somewhere like in a bathroom or a restroom or something where there's steam on a mirror. And you're just living your day-to-day life. Like, I live in a very, very dry climate here. It's very rare. It's impossible for anything to condense on a mirror or condense on a window because the humidity level is so low here that moisture just evaporates instantaneously. But in different parts of the world, humidity levels are very, very high, and you just put on a shower for a few moments at hot, and if it's a closed bathroom then there's a mirror, it can really steam up and you can't see anything. And what I felt, my sexy bod, what I felt with the King of Cups is that I felt I had to give you a nudge on the shoulder. Gregory, don't forget. Like, while you're at it, while you're in there, enjoying your sexy bod, rub the steam off the mirror, have a really good look, and just remind yourself that, yeah, you are the sexy bod. Like, you are that. You are the King of Cups. You're a very kind, generous, loving man. And don't forget it. Okay? Because it's so easy to get sidetracked or distracted with the vagaries of life in this world, all the stuff, all the flack, the chaos, the mayhem, the chores, the tasks, the distractions, calibrating your life like in living a journey so that you live through life and you're not just bouncing through it like a pinball. Okay? And so when I see the King of Cups, I can't even think how I would relate it to the astrology at the moment. So I'm not even going to try. Well, actually, I feel very tempted. Sorry, I can't help it. Okay, let's keep it really, really simple. Think of the energy of selfhood here, Aries energy. Jupiter in Aries, Mars in Aries, and little Chiron in Aries. Chiron will represent the wounded healer, like that part of you which is like a non-healing wound in yourself. And that's for the whole of humanity. A lot of humanity is feeling like we as a species, as an entity, are deeply, deeply, deeply wounded. And we're sick of it. Okay. On the other hand, you're very powerful, very strong. You're naturally programmed for abundance. These energies here, the Jupiter and Mars in Aries, it's very rich, strong, encouraging, abundant energy. And please don't forget that. Like, you're awesome. And you're very, very loving, okay? I remember there's something about a strong Piscean theme. Neptune is here all on its own in Pisces in the early 20s, something like that, degrees. And that's a really strong energy of love. I don't want to talk about the flip side of Pisces energy gone wrong. We're going to focus on the juicy, really good, sweet stuff. So you take all that airy stuff, combine that in a sweet sextile energy here with the moon, Mercury, and Venus all in Gemini. It's messages, it's communication. It's like you're here tonight to get a communication, which is basically a mini tarot reading, just to remind yourself that you're just pretty awesome, and you can look at yourself, I am loving and I am loved. Fact. It's a fact, people. I am loving. I am loved. That's it. And I can handle situations that are extremely difficult and that only someone who is extremely loving and who's able to be well loved can handle. Okay, so just a reminder. Just look in the mirror. Here's the situation itself. Okay. So with the Seven of Cups here, now I like to have a beverage, but I'm on strict limitations right now. I used to smoke. I used to take substances, but this is going back many decades, and I'm not like that anymore. I have to live a very, let's say, pristine life, and so I do. But my feeling is that, like with the Seven of Cups here, Gregory, it's almost like maybe it's almost like, how do I you said you had bunches of work to do, okay? To me, this feels like it's very, very Piscean, Neptunian energy about stuff that's very, very hard to handle, very hard to distill, very hard to quantify, very hard to mitigate, very hard to manage. I've talked to people sometimes about what I call energy management, because energy is just completely random and pure and open, and it's up to us how we manage our energy. And if you've said, I've been altering too much. So if you have been, let's say, imbibing or indulging in any kind of intoxicants, I love my whiskey, I love my red wine, I love my beer, I love all those things. But the way my body is built, I can really only take tiny amounts. And if I go over that amount, even a tiny bit, I can end up in this situation where I'm starting to lose my calibrations. You still feel like you're being yourself, but in fact, you are altering yourself. You have effectively altered yourself. And some people call that self-medication. I understand it. A lot of people, I would say, especially in developed countries, especially in very wealthy places, Americans, the United States and Americans are they're world famous for self-medicating, And it's, in a way, it's very sad because you don't have to. I think it's wonderful to have some of those lovely, delicious things. But you also said feeling blocked. What can happen is if let's say you're literally doing the best you can to live your life in a very wholesome, rich, abundant, loving way, which is kind of your default setting, but like you said, you've got a lot of work to do, a lot of stuff to get done, and it's stuff that's hard to lock down, hard to, let's say, hard to get it done, hard to get the results that are required. And so it's very easy to sort of want to soothe yourself, and that ends up making it feel as though like, well, at least I'm coping. But my feeling is that you could actually be working against yourself right now. Like, for example, I know extremely well that when I have even just slightly too much of my whiskey or red wine or beer, I'm actually impeding myself. And it translate, let's say, I would say, go back up to your note on the screen there. Impeding yourself is almost like blocking yourself. You don't know you're doing it because you're actually trying to console yourself. You're actually trying to heal yourself from all the things that kind of don't make sense, that need to be rectified and brought down into, let's say, a humble reality in a way that isn't necessarily very much fun or whatever, but work is work. It's got to be done. Now, what's the problem here? I've looked to me with the Six of Pentacles, you know exactly what needs to happen. And you know things have to be brought into harmony and balance. Like, if you owe people, how are you going to figure that? If people owe you, how are you going to figure that? So we've kind of talked about these things in private before, but this is a public reading here. But so I'm trying to condense it in such a way that you might feel is that there's no chance for reconciliation, for harmony and balance when it comes to quantifying and sorting out like lifestyle budgets and things like that. And you're not alone, because there's probably 300 million people in the United States who are trying to figure out this very same problem. How am I going to sort out my finances, my day-to-day life, my material life in such a way that I can achieve harmony again? So I'm not giving away too much, and I am, let's say, collecting on accounts collectible and so on. So you're collecting what is due to you. But it's very, very hard to do if you're naturally a very sweet, caring, loving person. Like, my God, I don't want to ask people for money. I don't, like, deep down, I actually don't want to reconcile what needs to be reconciled. I'd rather have a whiskey, or I'd rather have a wine or a beer or a smoke or something. Damn. Okay, let's have a look. How are we going to deal with this? Okay, so with the Five of Cups here, to me, I think it's about reconciliation, understanding the reality of your situation, and knowing that it's kind of almost like there's no way out of it. You got to do the work, even though you're feeling blocked, even though you might actually be trying to cope by self-medicating. And deep down, you know that in some ways, you know how, like, what's that expression? I'm just going to do it like this, okay? Sometimes we become our own worst enemy, despite the best of intentions, despite knowing exactly what needs to be done and how to do it, and then like struggling in terms of execution to get it into reality. It's really, really hard to do. Manifesting reality. I know I struggle with it intensely. I'm more than capable of, like, you know, creative visualization, and I can get there up to a point. But for me, sustainability, that's a whole other issue. I know people they don't necessarily have a lot of creative visualization, but what they do have, they know how to bring it into action, manifest it, lay it out here, and create very solid, tangible realities. So my feeling here is that you're suffering from some of the things that I suffer from, like in a parallel way. Okay? And so for myself, I'm drawing an analogy with myself here, Gregory, because we do work together and we've shared personal stories and things like this. Like, I suffer from this a lot. I'm not saying it's self-pity, but it's like deep, deep, deep remorse about what I've done wrong and what I had to do and the things that I didn't know how to do that ended up turning into deep loss and suffering for me personally. So I think it's a very, very similar thing for yourself. And so you got to reveal it to heal it. So I think it's really important to acknowledge that deep down there's a part of you which hurts very, very badly. And it doesn't make any sense. Like you don't deserve it because your default setting is kindness, love, generosity, even against all odds. And holding up your integrity against all odds. And so going forward, as a way to deal with your situation, it's understanding, it's almost understanding that it's like inevitable that there will be a certain amount of remorse and like a sense of loss. And it's, to me, it feels like it's extremely personal. And it's so much that it's tempting to drown it out. It's tempting to, self-medicate so you don't have to feel this. But my feeling is, in order to deal with reality, we have to accept that there are certain really painful aspects, let's say events, circumstances, life experience events that have happened to you up to this point in your life where there is no other description for it except for grief, loss, sorrow, and tragedy. And if you try to pretend that it's not there and you try to cover it up like, I'm okay, and everything's going to be fine, and I'm going to figure everything out, and you're like forcing the issue, it's not really going to help anybody. Not yourself, not anybody. And so going forward, it makes me feel like I don't want to tell you what to do or how to do it, but it makes me feel like if you're feeling blocked, it's partly of your own making because this energy is so painful to you that you can't help wanting to self-medicate or block another to try and stop the pain of this, because you know full well that coming into balance and harmony is really it's a task, or it's multiple tasks, or it's like you said, it's like work. And bringing things into making things fair again in a way that's fair for you when things have perhaps been extremely unfair against you. To me, it feels like almost the worst thing you could do is to deny this. And like if this was my own personal reading for me, I would give myself permission to weep deeply in a corner somewhere, let it all come out, and then maybe go back and have another little beverage, but a much smaller one. And then get on with life, just start all over again. Okay, so what are we going to do now? Okay, what are my daily tasks? What have I got to do now to bring my life closer and closer into harmony with the physical realities of life? Balancing the budgets of life, okay? Let's put it that way. Balance the budget of life. All right, thank you, Mr. Ross. I hope I didn't hurt your feelings or anything. I hope this actually helps you. Sometimes when we do readings, the messages that come out are not what we want to hear. Okay? And that's one of the things that comes with asking for a reading like this. Typically, what the messages that are coming out, we that's the reason we go to tarot readers and people like myself. So it's like, well, what are the messages? What do we really need to hear? Because it's not happening in a traditional way or in a traditional three-dimensional life. And so you stretch out a little bit and extend up into the realm of spirit, the realm of love, and get messages from there. And this is kind of an example of what happens when you reach out and basically when you get a reading, it's basically like asking for help, like a little like tap on the shoulder, or getting a few tips or whatever it is. All right, necessary. Let's have a look what's going on here. So necessary, if you don't mind, there's a song that I know you like very much, but if you don't mind, I'd like to save that because it's a really long song, and I think I'd like to play out the show when we finish, because after your reading, we're going to wrap it up. And so the song is titled, let me see if I can remember the title now. It's called Because I Care. And this is actually a song that I wrote for my mom before she passed away. And I didn't want her to go out all like in sadness and misery. And so it was like two songs in one. And I guarantee my mom went out in style. So in a way it kind of worked. It's like the healing power of songs, healing power of music. Hey Gregory, I thank you for that affirmation. Sometimes it's very scary for me to deliver readings because I know what the message is that's coming out, but I have to try and package it or phrase it in such a way that it doesn't hurt. It's not blunt, and it's not me personally trying to hurt or pretend that I'm superior in any way. It's just that sometimes it's a very difficult message to deliver, but it has to be delivered anyway. Thank you, Gregory. All right, so necessary. Here we go. I'm going to do some shuffling up right here. And then we're going to see what kind of messages do we have here tonight for necessary truth. Thank you, everybody, for coming back, by the way. I don't know what happened, but it's like every piece of software that I use to do these shows, it's like everyone was systematically breached or attacked and just switched off. Completely without my control. Everything's working fine right now. There's absolutely no reason why those bits of software would just suddenly go off. Doesn't make any sense. I can usually tell when there's problems with the stream, because you can tell from the internet signal, you can tell from the buffering. There's all sorts of charts over here that tell me how healthy the channel is while we're doing the transmissions and stuff like that. It's like trying to fly like an airplane or something, Lots of knobs and dials and buttons. But what just happened earlier in the show, it's like I got bombarded by asteroids. And I didn't even see it coming. But anyway, we recovered, and thank you everyone who came back. And I'm sorry we lost people if you didn't come back or you couldn't find a way to come back. All right, dear necessary, what kind of messages do we have here for you tonight? Everybody here knows necessary pretty well by now. She's up there over in the sort of Bronx, New York area. She's highly gifted as a medium. Let's have a look. Yay. Yeah, so I'm going to play the song afterwards, okay? Because I know you like it. I like the song. I haven't heard it in a long time, so I'm looking forward to that as well. All right, here we go. What's the situation? What are the challenges here? And then how on earth are we going to handle that stuff? And let's have a look at external influences. We've got the 9 of Pentacles. We're getting what I sense. It's you want from Chris. Okay. All right, Chris. Come on, Chris. Where are you? Come on, Chris. Oh, necessary. Oh my God. Hold on a second. Dear necessary truth. I forgot that you're constantly in the presence of, I think it's John and Chris, two of your very dominant spirit guides and angel friends. And when I was just looking over here, I was checking over in the chat to see if I missed anything. And I saw your wiggly dance moves. And then I saw, oh, there's Chris. Oh, we want to bring Chris into the reading. And then instantaneously, I felt like he was here. And he was like this super animated kid. And the way my studio is set up, I have like a place where I broadcast, and it's like he already knew that you were going to get a reading, and he had already placed himself strategically ready to go at the moment your reading begins. And it's like pretend. All right, how can I do this? Let's act this out. Okay, I'm here. I'm Terra Lumination. I'm doing my stuff, blah, blah, blah. And then suddenly Chris? And it's like he's over there. He's right over there, parked by the side of the stage, but crouching very, very low with his head very, very close to the stage where we do the actual reading. And he was like looking at the cards really, really close up, like, wow, this is really cool, like getting really, like he could see the studio, the surface of everything. And this all happened extremely quickly. You know, I don't operate typically as a medium, okay, necessary truth, you know that, but it's very common that we have mediumistic types of events on this show, but it's mostly in real time for me, rather than people who've passed on or whatever. But with invisible friends or with clients, we get all sorts of events like this. But with Chris in particular, sometimes things get quite vivid, and so I'm trying to reenact it. And what it was like is this, like, oh, this is so cool, it's my turn. It's my chance right now. And then it's like he looked up at me, and he said, hey, TL, can I be on camera? Can I be on camera too? Please, please. I've always wanted to do that. And then you have to kind of remember, like, Chris, you're there in spirit. And it's great that you might want to be on camera. And in a way you are, because we're talking about you. But actually, you're operating in the realm of spirit. Even though you're here very, very, very close with us here in 3D reality right now. You're actually over there in the spirit. Okay? And he understands. He totally gets it. I just wanted to convey that. It took me a long time to express it because what I'm conveying only took about 3 to 4 seconds. All right, here we go. Thank you, Chris. All right. So, we've got the Seven of Pentacles here. And again, like we've had in other readings, this looks very much about reminders and reflections back to yourself. And it's like I don't even hardly want to refer to the astrology at this point. This seems like the whole evening is about people needing to be reminded of their true nature, their true selves. And so with the Nine of Pentacles in your situation, necessary with this reading for you, it's all about a reminder that you are already a woman of substance. Okay? Now, because you are a living being and we live on this thing called time, there's a ticking clock, there are periods of the day or the week or the month or the year where we start to feel like I'm not enough. I am not enough. There's never enough time. There's never enough money. There's never enough space, enough room, enough peace. It's never enough. And then you have to work. You have to go and get more, just in case it doesn't arrive by nature or it isn't given to you as earnings or as a reward or a recognition or as a gift. All I'm suggesting here with the Nine of Pentacles is please, 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 dear necessary truth, already understand that you are a woman of substance already. You've done a lot of the groundwork. You've done a lot of the tilling of the soil, the planting of the seeds, the nurturing of the self, the nurturing of the land that is your soil, that's your, where you plant your own seeds of love in your life, where you create your own abundance in your life. You're already that. Okay? You are this already, and don't forget it. Now, again, of course, we had a reading earlier, I think it came up, where, yes, this is something definitely to be enjoyed. It's something to be acknowledged. It's very, very important to give yourself a time of day where you can put your feet up and realize, like, wow, actually, I'm not 100% where I want to be or how I could be, but I'm actually okay. And just remind yourself, please remind yourself that you are a woman of substance, okay? Seriously, the Nine of Pentacles is a very beautiful card in this reading, in this placement, the way it's placed here. And I think it's very, very much about a reminder. Wait, almost it's like Chris. It's almost like Chris is saying, okay, Chris really wants to be in on this, okay? It's like Chris is saying to me, he's basically saying, like, it's like Chris is here, he's trying to have this side conversation with me, and he's basically saying, hey, TL, that's what I keep trying to tell her. I keep trying to tell her. Anyway, I hope that makes sense. Okay? Let's have a look. What's the situation itself? Let's have a look here. You ready, Chris? Yeah. Okay. Let's go. Wow. Whoa. Ace of Pentacles. We had this earlier today as well. So, this is a card of sacred opportunity. Now remember, what is today? The 26th. Okay. Sun is in Gemini, if I'm correct. Let me just check a couple of things. Stay right there. Don't go away. Because we've got a new moon. We have a new moon in Cancer. Wow. It's actually later this week. The sun is already in Cancer, as you know. Let me go back here. Let me do this. Let me bring in the chart. Chris is really, really, I have to tell you, necessary. He's right here. Like, it's almost like he's literally right here. Right here, and he's like participating, like he knows. He's saying, like, I know I've been here before, TL, and Necessary Truth knows that I'm here and all that, and there's John and he's serious and everything. But I've never been this close to where the action is. This is how you act. Like, it's like his eyes and his face are so close to the paper that he sees every smudge and piece of ink. And it's like, wow, this is real. This is the real deal. Like, he does his thing, okay, over in spirit, and like he's there with you, for you, okay? But tonight, right now, it's like, this is so cool. Like, oh, I see how you're connecting the astrology with the tarot and everything. It's just like, oh, this is so much fun. So what I'm trying to say here with the Ace of Pentacles, this is obviously about abundance and money and new starts and new beginnings. And the opportunity is there like a portal, okay? If you look very, very closely, I don't know if the camera can handle it. Do you see that tiny portal down there at the bottom right? Look through the portal. It's a whole new landscape on the other side. And I think this is very much aligned with the Cancer new moon. Now, I forgot whatever your placements are. Everybody has Cancerian placements somewhere in their chart. Okay, like right now, the sun is in the earlier degrees of Cancer. And it's going to be a new moon where the sun is at 18 degrees and the moon will eventually be it moves much more quickly. I can't really show you on this, but maybe you can see that here. This indicates the new moon. It's right here. That's the new moon energy, and I think that is what corresponds to the Ace of Pentacles, where by doing what you do, being who you are, dear necessary truth, you're going to kind of go into a very subtle, deep, comfortable, almost like a meditative trance. That's what I'm sensing here, where you allow yourself, perhaps even with the assistance of your invisible friends, and Chris and John and everybody, to get yourself very, very deeply aligned with this Cancer new moon. Now, if Cancer is in your second house, the second house, as you know, is all about money. Okay? It's ruled by Venus, and the money axis is on the Taurus-Scorpio axis. So I feel this is very much to do with your own personal finances, your own personal wealth, your own personal abundance in the future, where you're looking at hopefully some kind of upgrade or clarity or the removal of obstacles to your increased abundance. Okay, sometimes the abundance is already there, and it's more a question of like gold mining, where you have to actually dig and remove the obstacles, and the wealth is there. Now, this is all wealth that you've generated and planted in your own life, in your own world. But to me, this feels like new wealth, new abundance that's out there available to you should you choose to access this opportunity. And it looks like it's a perfect alignment for you with the Cancerian new moon to look at your life as a starting point, like a long-term trajectory here, a starting point to look at your life, the material side, like work, time, money, growth, stability, security, abundance. Look at that in such a way with fresh eyes, okay? A fresh viewpoint. And let's make sure that Chris understands. He said he understands completely, and he's going to be there for you the whole way to help you stay calibrated and aligned so that you have the maximum opportunity of getting the maximum abundance out of this moment of sacred opportunity. Of course, it could just fly by. You'd never know. Like if you didn't have this reading, you might not have ever thought about it as a calendar moment. We're looking at the 28th, 29th, 30th. The momentum will build up basically in July. Okay? So be aware of that. Now, what are the problems here? Challenges. Okay, well, there might be a deep fear that you might feel that you're so far away from actually being able to manifest this or attain this or be able to, let's say, access the opportunity. And that you're only left with the energy of hope, okay? The aspirational energy of hope. And in a way, like the star card is like, it makes me feel like the absence of hope. And so there's this very, 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 very deeply buried, tiny, but very, very powerful, debilitating fear, like that, what if this doesn't work? What if this reading doesn't work? Okay, and who am I going to blame? Well, and like everything in life, it all comes back to the self. And so you're left with no other recourse except hope. And hope for a lot of people is like, what's hope? It's nothing. It's believing in something when it's not there. What's the point? Hope might as well be hopeless, okay? Ha, 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 ha. I see your note there. It caught my eye on the chat. Thanks, Love Triber. So, with the star card here, this, to me, the translation is that there's this deep fear that it's hopeless. future abundance, future new opportunities, wealth, stability, financial security. It's hopeless. It's never going to happen. The world is falling apart. The news headlines, it's all about World War III, inflation, gasoline prices going through the roof, food prices going through the roof, shortages at the grocery stores, no more beef, no more chicken, no more pork, no more turkey, no more fish, no more eggs, no more bread, no more fertilizer for my garden, nothing. The world is falling apart. It's the end of the world. It's the apocalypse. Oh no. But the star card here does, of course, indicate the energy of hope in such a way that it's believing when there is no evidence to support the belief. And the question is, it feels like there's extreme doubt around the concept and the understanding of hope. So please understand, you're not alone, dear Necessary Truth. There are literally billions of people on earth right now, at least 2 to 3 billion people on earth right now. I will just give you an indication of how many. Basically, pretty much everyone in here, a lot of people, at least 1 billion people in here, at least 1 billion people in here. And when you add up all of this and this and this and this, I'm looking at, I would say, 3.5 billion people are in a state of dire desperation, fear, and panic as the global economy is convulsing under the pressure of the horrible things that I talk about sometimes. Okay? And it would be perfectly natural for yourself, because you live in what's called developed country and you're very smart. You live in a very advanced city, and there's all sorts of, let's say, so-called material physical advantages and privileges that apparently come with the so-called developed world. But in a way, the folks in the developed world are just as vulnerable as the folks who are already suffering extreme deprivation right now. So you're not alone. It's perfectly natural for you to suffer like momentary spasmodic surges of hopelessness. Okay? It's understandable. So how are we going to deal with this going forward? Okay, so we have the death card here. Don't be scared, obviously. Death is one of the most powerful healing cards in the deck. And it's about the energy of transformation. I often use the analogy of the caterpillar morphing into the chrysalis, which morphs into the butterfly. The caterpillar doesn't know it's going to become a butterfly. The chrysalis doesn't know it's going to become a butterfly. The butterfly typically doesn't know that it was a chrysalis or that it was a caterpillar earlier on, but that's just how it is. It's the process of transformation. And in the process of transformation, the caterpillar effectively dies, goes into the chrysalis form, completely passes away, and reconstitutes, completely transforms itself into something new called a butterfly, and that rips open the chrysalis and the butterfly emerges. And the message here, I feel, is that it's understanding that for you personally to be able to like cruise through the situation, cruise through these astrological episodes right now. I'm looking particularly in the next, I would say, 2 months, because I've pinpointed 2 episodes that are going to be very, very poignant, okay? One of them is the thing we talked about here. Okay? When Mars is in Aries in about 10 days, hard square with Pluto in Capricorn, that's going to be a very warlike, violent type of energy, and it might show up on the marketplaces, in the global financial markets. And I guarantee with Saturn hard square still on Uranus here in Taurus, the money sign, the second house money, there's going to be massive convulsions in the markets, the global financial markets. It's going to reverberate across the whole of Earth. I also put the term violence and war, because what's happening on planet Earth right now is essentially the culmination of decades of war that is being conducted through the currency markets. I've talked about that in my book. It's World War III conducted through the currency markets, where the United States basically weaponized the US dollar to its advantage over the whole of the world, and a lot of people are starting to reject the dollar. So it's a war. And a lot of us know that you're involved in the financial world. So please be aware. Sometimes, what's that expression in the financial world? Like something about when there's blood on the streets. Okay, I don't want to get too vivid or too scary here, but like if you study a lot of like long-term history and behavior of the elites at the global banking system at the very, very top, they have these processes of creating destruction, massive cataclysmic destruction of assets, so that they can come in, scoop up the assets at prices that are completely crushed and pulverized. You know, like when you pick up a really beautiful shirt or jacket or something that's like $120 at the fashion store, and you pick it up in a thrift store for $3. That's what they do. It is a mechanism. The global banking systems know how to do that to their advantage. So, since you're involved in finances, you might as well be aware of it, because without, I'm not saying you have to be a predator or a vicious kind of person who exploits the weaknesses and the fragilities of other people. But it is about transformation, understanding that there is collapse and implosions. The caterpillar, chrysalis, butterfly. And that's not about you. It's about circumstances and events around you, so that you don't get lost in it. You don't take it personally, okay? Let me go back here. So in other words, the way to go forward is to understand that you are living through and witnessing a massive, convulsive period of extreme turmoil. And it happens to be in the global financial markets. And it's going to be very destructive for some people. They're going to feel a lot of pain. But the world will continue, and there are people who will come out the other side okay, because they understand how all this stuff works. So, to me, this is encouraging, but it's just a reminder. It's almost like another, and a simpler analogy might be like surfing, where the surfer knows to catch the big wave, they're going to have to swim out into the big water, to the heavy water, the big wave areas. They're going to have to get in there. They have to deliberately duck below the wave, knowing that it's a scary, dangerous thing to do, and then they come out the other side, grab their board, jump on it, and then they surf the wave. Chris is over here acting out, pretending he's like a surfer dude. Okay? All right. And he's doing this. To me, it feels he's like doing this. Hey, look at me. Look at me. Can you see me? I want to be on camera. Can everybody see me? Like I'm a surfer. I'm surfing now. Watch me surfing. Does that make any sense? Necessary? Okay. Anyway, that's kind of what's going on here. And Chris just said, oh my God, I'm having so much fun. This is so much fun. It's really fun. It's actually funny as well. Thanks, Chris. Sorry, I'm just kind of giggling at what I'm feeling here. Yeah. Anyway, okay, so let's move on, okay? So that's basically your reading, okay? Necessary. You have to understand it like in terms of energy flow. This doesn't mean you're going to be rich overnight. This doesn't mean things are hopeless, okay? Aquarius is the energy of hope for humanity, okay? Someone has to do it. Someone has to bear the message of hope for humanity when there is nothing obvious, okay? That's what Aquarians do. And so moving forward, it's about understanding how to navigate through these next few weeks, but especially looking at it as a time event. Just get yourself oriented now over this next week, understanding that you've got a Cancer new moon, and like you said, in your second house, and that's going to extend. It's going to have a ripple wave for a couple of weeks. It's going to culminate, okay? And 2 weeks later, there's going to be a full moon, which will be on July, 10th or something. I don't have that right in front of me. Let me just double check, see if I can find out here. When is the full moon? 13th. Yeah, it's on the 13th. Okay, on July 13th, okay? So, you're going to be okay, all right, necessary. But I think this looks to me sort of almost like a weather forecast where you need to get yourself aligned and prepared, okay? Abundance is your natural state. You are a self-made woman. You are a woman of substance. And it's appropriate for you to enjoy your abundance every now and again. But right now, it's really important to tap in to this moment of sacred opportunity that's coming up right now. It's time for you to get aligned right now. Okay? Alrighty, so there you go. Alright, I'm going to check out now. Well, I'm going to clear this up, but I'm going to say goodnight to everybody. Thanks, Chris, for hanging out. He's already gone. Okay. So it was a pleasure to read for all of you. I hope to see you again soon. Be loving, be loved. You don't need me to tell you, but I'm say it anyway because it's sort of what I do. Be loving, be loved. Love thyself. Understand that. How can I say? Like, please recite this to yourself. I'll say it to you, but it's better actually if you say it the way I'm saying it. I am worthy. I am deserving. I am open to receive. I am ready. I am willing. I am able to receive. What? The healing power of love. Okay? And that carries everything with it. Okay? All of it. You are deserving. Alright, let me find the little song and I'll get it playing for you, and then we can all give each other a big hug good night. He's on the... Oh, okay. How funny. He's always on the beach. He teaches yoga on the beach. I never knew that. Okay, it's all making sense now. It makes a lot more sense. Okay. Yeah, she loves North. Hey, yeah, she loves North. Question mark. I've just finished. I'm not doing any more readings. Does Karen still see me as Bella from Twilight? Gosh, I don't know the Twilight series at all, so I don't know how to answer that. I feel very clueless. So, come and visit us next week, okay? Alright, good night, everybody. I'm going to find a little song here. We're going to play it. It's called Because I Care. So just listen to the words. You'll kind of understand. I wrote it for my mom. For her passing. So that she wouldn't be scared. Because she was always very scared of that thing. But in fact, she did a tremendous She was very graceful in her passing. Okay? It sounds like this. It's 2 songs in one. It's about 7 minutes, so please hang around, enjoy yourself. That's me on guitar, and then I start singing soon.
Let's dissolve our pain and get out of danger. Heal all the wounds and cure all the anger. I'll be the doctor, you be the patient. Here is your medicine, I'll help you take it. No, it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. It wipes out the fear and makes you live longer. It's not a lotion, it's no magic potion. It's just a dose of love in the moment. I'll watch you while you're lying there, while your eyes are closed and your heart is bare. Perfectly still, but still aware. And I'm right here because I care, because I care.
God, I haven't played this in a long time. I think it's actually a really good song.
Holding your hand, I know you can feel me. I'll talk in a whisper, I know you can hear me. When you awaken, when we are conscious, totally healed and cured, just watch this. No more weeping, no more sadness. Gone is the fighting, gone is the madness. We can choose to become alive, or just disappear, or become survivors. I'll watch you while you're lying there, while your eyes are closed and your heart is bare. Perfectly still, but still aware. And I'm right here because I care, because I care.
Now dance around, everybody. Have fun. Good night. We're not going to let you go down in flames. No, no, no. We're going to have fun. We're going to do this right. Thanks, everybody. It was a pleasure. Take care. Be loving. Be loved.